Why can't I stop snacking? I hear it all the time. Let's talk about that today. Believe me, it's not your willpower. Hey there, I'm Jennifer Singh. I'm a lifestyle medicine doctor and I help women over 40 lose weight, get fit, and age like a boss. Why can't I stop snacking and I can't control myself around food? I hear this constantly all the time. I've struggled with it myself. Today I'm going to talk about 4 reasons that we snack and 4 solutions to help you conquer those unplanned snack attacks. Okay, what is snacking? Look, snacking is not bad, okay? It's not in and of itself particularly evil. However, snacking is not really required for our health. So for our purposes, I'm going to call a snack any food that's eaten between meals and that you didn't plan on eating. So sometimes I plan for a snack between meals and then I eat that snack, and that's okay. That doesn't bother us, right? Because we planned it. It's when we eat between meals and we didn't plan it that we lose the feeling of control and we feel like the food was in control, which makes us feel terrible. Most healthy adults can easily eat 3 good meals a day and not really physically require snacking. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that. If you're someone who struggles with your blood sugar, or you're an athlete who has high calorie requirements, you might need to make sure that you eat snacks during the day. That's up to you and your healthcare provider. Okay, so let's cover 4 things that drive us to snack. Number 1, there's a part of your brain, I call it your primitive brain, that is hardwired to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. We spent millennia in the wilderness prior to civilization looking for food, so it was a big advantage for us to have a brain that drove us to eat when food was available. That said, we do have onboard circuitry that tells us how much to eat and when to stop. Unfortunately, most of modern life messes with all of those signals and we become a little bit deaf to signals that tell us when to eat, how much to eat, and when to stop. Number 2, the second reason you struggle with snacking is the food that is available to us in modern life. If you've wondered why you can't stop snacking, let me tell you, because billions of dollars are being spent in laboratories and in marketing boardrooms to make sure that you can't stop snacking. Processed food companies do this by making sure that the taste and the flavor and even how foods melt in our mouth is literally almost addictive. Now, everyone is different. You may know people who can have just one or eat just a few, but believe me, the companies are making sure that no one wants to eat just one. Some people struggle more than others when trying to control themselves around hyper-processed foods. But for many of us, the more we eat, the more we want. Reason number 3 that you might struggle with snacking is eating when we're not really hungry. Now, many of us have been trained from childhood to ignore natural signals and eat even though we're not hungry. If you were ever told you have to clean your plate or you can't stop until that's done, then those were teachings that were well intended, but they taught us to ignore our body. As humans, we eat for a lot of reasons that are not true hunger. We eat if we're bored or sad or happy or partying or drinking or lonely or watching TV. And there's nothing inherently wrong with all of that. But once you're aware of it, if you're not getting the results that you want in your body or your health, it's a great place to look at. Am I even really eating when I'm hungry? And reason number 4 that you might not be able to stop snacking is our environment. We tend to put ourselves in environments where there is lots of hyper palatable foods, processed foods, things that are delicious, without an alternative plan. And then when we can't resist the hyperpalatable foods, we beat ourselves up and say things like, I have no willpower, I suck, I can't get it together, I never stick to anything. In James Clear's famous book, Atomic Habits, there's this one part that I love. Let me paraphrase it real quick. Many of us mistakenly think that people who have it all together and are achieving success with their fitness or their health goals, we believe that they just somehow have more willpower than us. Completely not true. Clear says that these people have just figured out how to construct their life to make it easy to do the things that get them the results that they want. I hope by now you see that if you struggle with snacking, it is not just about willpower. We have brains that are hardwired to consume. We're surrounded by foods that are being pushed and engineered by a billion-dollar industry to make sure that we can't quit. We learn to eat for reasons other than hunger, and frequently we keep ourselves in an environment that makes it really hard not to snack. Okay, so what do we do? Well, the first thing you need to do is hit subscribe down below so that you can keep getting this content and learn to handle your brain so that you can get the body results that you want. Okay, you ready for some solutions? Here we go. Number one is just being aware that you have a primitive brain that is going to toss cravings and urges up to you to eat in ways that maybe you don't think are best for your health. So yes, if you want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat the whole container of the delicious thing, you're actually not just a person with poor character. You actually have a perfectly functioning human brain. Thankfully, we can train ourselves to overcome those urges. Solution two, eat some dang food. If you eat adequate volume with plenty of plants and fiber and water during the day and really feed yourself a meal that is large volume and nourishing with some plant-based protein included, you'll be much more likely to stay satisfied and be able to resist when you do see foods between meals that you don't think are going to help you meet your health goals. Take a look at my video about plant-based eating where I talk about calorie density and how to eat large volume meals without costing too many calories. If you're feeding yourself plenty of nutrition during your meals and you still find yourself to be truly hungry between meals, then instead of eating something small, sweet, salty in a little package, have a meal. Have like a mini meal or something that looks like an actual entree instead of little packaged blah blah blahs. Solution three, get into the habit of checking in with your true hunger every time your brain throws you a thought about food. If your brain says, hey, you should really eat something now, just stop and think, am I actually hungry? Stomach, is that you? It's a great short-term exercise to get into the habit of keeping a little notepad and just studying yourself like a science experiment. Every time I have a thought about food, sometimes I can just jot that down and go, oh, interesting, I just had a desire for food. What was that about? Am I really hungry or am I bored, tired, stressed, happy, whatever? Finally, tip number four, clean up your environment. If you're a normal person who has a really happy brain response to hyper palatable foods, don't make yourself win a stare down with a package of Oreos on a daily basis. Your home should be the easiest place for you to stick to your plan. Maybe you have other people living with you who want different foods in the house. That's fine. At least you can actually not put it in your line of immediate sight. As humans, we're really triggered by visual sights, and just seeing things when we open the pantry or open the cabinet can sometimes trigger, oh, I want that. So we can avoid that just by putting these things out of sight. And if you're at work where sometimes there's those bowls of holiday candy sitting around, you might have to learn to just avoid that path during your day or decrease the amount of times that you walk by that bowl. If you learned something valuable from this, hit that like button down below and hop over to my other video about mastering your metabolism over age 40.